Ever catch yourself wondering, like really wondering, who gets to call the shots on AI in war?
Yeah, it's a big one for sure. Huge implications, you're right.
And that's exactly what we're going to unpack today. This proposal we're diving into, it's trying to find an answer to that very question.
And it's about time, right? I mean, the clock's ticking, AI is getting more, well, advanced every single day, and militaries everywhere, they're seeing what it can do on the battlefield.
Exactly. And you send over some seriously interesting articles on this. The one that really grabbed me, though, this whole Department of Technology idea,
Hmm.
like starting from scratch, completely overhauling that whole REAIM system.
Right, right. REAIM, responsible AI in the military. It started with the best intentions, bringing everyone together to at least start talking about using AI responsibly, which is more than we had before.
It was like, what do we even call this? Okay, dipping our toes into the ethical side of military AI.
Exactly. But the thing is, and the articles make this really clear, REM, it's got some major issues, right? Like relying on everyone to just, I don't know, agree on guidelines.
It's like suggesting to everyone, hey, let's all eat healthier. Sounds good, but is anyone ditching the chips for a carrot? Probably not.
Exactly. And here, the stakes, way higher than a couple of calories, right? We're talking about this AI arms race that could spiral, countries going full speed on autonomous weapons, no safety net, no accountability, nothing.
Yeah, that lack of actual enforcement, that's scary. And the example from the article, bone-chilling. One country developing AI weapons in secret, no consequences. Talk about shifting power.
Yeah.
And not in a good way.
And because REAIM, it doesn't really define ethical AI use very clearly. You end up with each country doing their own thing, interpreting the guidelines however they want. Talk about an uneven playing field.
It's like trying to play a board game where everyone's got their own rule book. Chaos. And then there's the elephant in the room, the one everyone's tiptoeing around.
Yeah.
Autonomous weapons. Machines making life or death calls on the battlefield.
Yeah, no kidding. And that's where the ethics get really messy. Are we really ready to give algorithms that kind of power? Can we even guarantee they'll always make the right call, especially in a war zone?
Which brings us to this Department of Technology proposal. And let's be real, they're taking a completely different approach. Way bolder. Forget guidelines. They're talking legally binding international treaties.
Yeah, it's a complete 180. No more pretty please, play by the rules. It's here are the laws, break them, and there will be consequences. No more messing around.
And get this, they want to use, get ready for it, Asimov's laws of robotics as the foundation, the ethical core of this whole thing.
Right. Like straight out of science fiction, but honestly, it's kind of genius.
Okay, for those of us who maybe haven't read I, Robot recently, let's break it down. What are we talking about here?
Sure. So Asimov's first law of robotics, it basically states that a robot, it can't harm a human being, right? And it can't even let a human be harmed if it can do something to stop it. So right away, that fear of autonomous weapons going rogue, it's addressed head on.
So even if it's a machine we're talking about, human safety is priority number one. No exceptions.
Exactly. And then there's the second law, which says a robot has to obey orders from humans. Unless, and this is a big unless, those orders would break the first law, harm a human. So humans stay in control. Always.
No Terminator situation here.
Yeah.
Right? The machines don't get to make the rules.
Exactly. And what I find really interesting is how they want to actually use this in the real world. We're talking complete transparency when it comes to AI development, like what we see with those nuclear treaties, non-proliferation.
So no more building killer robots in some hidden bunker.
Exactly. It's about building trust, or at least trying to, in a field that's usually all about secrets and suspicion. If everyone's upfront about their AI, it could, help prevent misunderstandings, maybe even avoid a real terrifying AI arms race.
Okay, so we've got these ironclad treaties, a solid ethical base using Asimov's laws, and everyone's playing cards up. But how would this Department of Technology actually work in the real world? It seems like a huge undertaking.
Huge, yeah. But the article does, it lays out a possible roadmap. And one of the big things they propose, national AI commissions, like right inside each country's defense department.
So a dedicated team, experts, their whole job is making sure their country's using AI responsibly in the military.
Exactly. Think of them like AI watchdogs, right? Making sure everything lines up with those international rules, those ethical standards we talked about.
Love it. So no rogue generals building a Terminator in their basement.
Hopefully not. These commissions, they'd have a few big jobs. One, compliance officers, making sure their country's following those treaties, no cutting corners. Two, ethics watchdogs, overseeing how AI is developed, how it's used in their military.
Okay, so no secret robot armies. But zoom out a bit, right? How would this Department of Technology actually stop an AI arms race? Make the world safer?
$1 million question, right? The article, it argues that this whole unified approach, the transparency, the accountability, it could actually make countries cooperate instead of just competing all the time.
Instead of everyone racing to build the biggest, scariest AI weapon, we're all working together to make sure this stuff is used responsibly.
Exactly. Shifting the whole mindset from fear and I don't trust you to we're in this together. Now, realistically, getting every single nation on board with that, it's a tall order for sure. There's always going to be someone trying to cheat the system.
Oh, absolutely. But even if it's not perfect, even having these lines drawn, this framework in place, that's got to count for something,
It
right?
does. And the benefits, they go way beyond just avoiding a robot apocalypse, you
Right.
know? Think about the economic side. If we're not throwing trillions at an AI arms race, that's money that can go to, I don't know, education, healthcare, even tackling climate change.
So it's not just a safer world, it's a better world,
Kid.
period. It's wild how this tech, AI, it seems so futuristic, but the impact, it's real. It touches everything.
It's that intersection, you know? Tech, ethics, global politics, all coming together around this one question. How do we make sure AI helps humanity, not just a handful of people?
And speaking of making sure AI is on the right track, this is where the article got really interesting for me. They actually lay out some scenarios like, what if this happened? A guide to navigating military AI in the real world.
Those scenarios, they're super valuable. They take us from theory to, okay, how would this play out? For example, they talk about this situation. An autonomous drone malfunctions during an operation, civilians get hurt.
Okay, scary thought. But with how AI is developing, it's not impossible. So Department of Technology, what do?
That's where the framework kicks in. Because they have this international authority, right, that step in, investigate the incident, figure out who's accountable, and make sure those ethical guidelines, they weren't ignored. Was it a tech glitch, human error, something else entirely? Were there safety measures in place?
So it's like they're the ethical safety net for AI in the military, making sure nothing falls through the cracks.
Exactly. Even if things get, complicated during a conflict, those ethical lines, they still matter. And what's crucial here, it gives us a way to hold people accountable for what happens. Could be a country, could be the person who designed the AI, maybe even, and this is where it gets really interesting, the AI itself.
Whoa, hold on. Hold an AI accountable. How do you even start to think about that? It's not like you can, throw a robot in jail.
Yeah. That's what everyone's trying to figure out right now. Philosophers, lawyers, everyone. And honestly, it's one of the most fascinating parts of this whole thing. The article, it mentions creating a whole new legal system just for AI. Because
Uh-huh.
our old ideas about responsibility, they might not work when you're talking about something this advanced.
It's kind of blowing my mind a little bit, but it's also like, how can we not talk about this? If we don't figure this out now, while AI is still kind of new, who knows what'll happen?
Exactly. And that's what I like about this Department of Technology idea. Ambitious, sure, but it's making us have these conversations now before it's too late.
Being proactive, not just reacting to whatever happens. Much better plan.
100%. Look, we're at this crossroads with AI, right? Do we let it take us down a path of, I don't know, fear, destruction, all that? Or do we take control, steer it toward something that actually helps everyone?
Steering it in the right direction.
Yeah.
I like that. This whole deep dive, it's actually made me think about AI differently. Not just as a weapon, but maybe even a tool for peace.
I think we forget that sometimes.
Yeah.
With all the talk about killer robots and everything. But imagine, what if AI could actually help us, I don't know, de-escalate conflicts, help us understand why wars even start in the first place?
Now that's a future I can get behind.
Right. And listen, who knows if this Department of Technology thing will actually happen? But the ideas behind it, the questions it's making us ask, that's what we need to keep in mind as we, figure out this whole AI thing.
Totally. And for anyone listening out there who might be feeling like, whoa, this is a lot. AI, global stuff, the future of war, it's heavy. But here's the thing. You don't need to be an expert or anything to have an opinion, to be part of this conversation. Because
Right.
the choices we make about AI today, they affect all of us tomorrow.
Right.
So stay informed, stay engaged, and let's make sure AI is building a better, safer world for everyone, right?
Couldn't have said it better myself. A safer world, that's a goal worth fighting for.
Absolutely. And on that note, we'll wrap up this deep dive into the wild world of military AI. Hopefully everyone listening has some new things to think about. Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking those tough questions, and as always, keep diving deep.